Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 8th Lebanon City Council meeting. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Kincaid, will you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll move on to the roll call members. Madam Clerk, we call roll, please.
Sure. Mike Kincaid.
Here.
Keith Campbell.
Here.
Morris Jones.
Here.
Dick Robertson.
Here.
John Copeland.
He's excused.
Okay. Brent Wheat.
Here.
Sierra Messenger.
Here.
Thank you.
Joining us virtually. Perfect. Okay, with that, move on to the approval of minutes from our previous meeting. Are there any changes, edits to those minutes?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Oh, sorry. I got to remember, Sarah, my bad. All right, minutes are approved.
Sorry.
Right. No, you're fine. That's on me. So first up, tonight we have a new officer joining us, the Lebanon Police Department. So I'll have Chief Morley come up and introduce the new officer.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. I'm proud to introduce Lebanon Police Department's newest officer, Cameron Thomas. Cameron, if you and Deshelle want to come up. Cameron he came to us from the Boone County Sheriff's Department. He was a merit deputy there for 2 years, and we're proud to have him and lucky to get him.
All right, I'll give you the oath. You want to step forward here a little bit? Right hand on the Bible, so you probably want to stand here. And then left hand. Yeah, there you go, perfect. And then repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Cameron Thomas,
Solemnly
swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana
and all laws and ordinances
and all laws and ordinances
of the City of Lebanon.
of the City of Lebanon.
And I will
Faithfully discharge my duties
as an officer of the Lebanon Police Department
as an officer of the Lebanon Police Department
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you. I would just like to thank the City of Lebanon for giving me this opportunity. Our chiefs and assistant chiefs and our crew at Lebanon PD, good group of guys, and thank you to my family, and I'm looking forward to finishing my career here.
And
We
Chief,
also
we
have
had
an
some more awards we're also giving out as well tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to call up Sergeant Knox. He's going to present an award.
Yep.
Hello, I'm Sergeant Justin Knox, currently assigned to night shift patrol at LPD. On average in the United States, someone is killed in an intoxicated driving-related crash every 15 minutes. Law enforcement agencies across the nation, including the Lebanon Police Department, make it a priority to attempt to locate and stop intoxicated drivers operating on our roadways and within our community, especially during the overnight hours when more than half of fatal accidents involve alcohol. I would like to bring to your attention one specific officer that I've had the privilege of being his first-line supervisor over the past year, Officer Mccloskey. Officer Mccloskey joined our department in May of 2019 and has quickly found his knack at locating and stopping intoxicated drivers. In 2020, Officer Mccloskey's efforts led to over 40 intoxicated drivers being removed from our city streets. Even at this early stage in his career, Mccloskey has already been certified as a field sobriety instructor, teaching other officers not only from our agency but other agencies as well, and how to conduct standardized field sobriety tests on suspected intoxicated drivers. The nonprofit organization MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, learned of Mccloskey's efforts, and they would like to present Mccloskey with recognition for his efforts in impaired driving enforcement, education, and investigations for the citizens of Lebanon. Unfortunately, a representative from their organization could not be here tonight, so they have asked us to present the award on his behalf, or their behalf. Can I get it open? There you go. Congratulations. Thanks very much.
If I can have a second, I'd like to read a letter that I was given. Officer Mccloskey isn't aware of this, so he's learning this for the first time. In keeping with recently established tradition, I am recommending Officer Austin Mccloskey for the Officer of the Year Award. Officer Mccloskey joined the Lebanon Police Department in May of 2019. Since being released from the FTO program, Officer Mccloskey has been assigned primarily to the night shift. Since arriving on this shift, he has exhibited a high standard of professionalism and proficiency in his work. Since he began, Officer Mccloskey has embodied the ideals of public servant. He is confident yet humble, firm but kind. Neither I nor any of the other supervisors on the night shift have seen him lose his temper. He enforces the law without malice and treats everyone with respect. Officer Mccloskey takes criticism well and does not easily take offense. He consistently strives to improve himself professionally. I received an email copied below from the victim advocate, Superior Court 2, that commended his extra effort in an OWI case. The email referenced refinements Officer Mccloskey has made to improve his reports to better prosecute criminal offenses. Officer Mccloskey is an active officer and often self-initiates investigations. He has distinguished himself in the investigation of OWI cases. I believe that Officer Mccloskey embodies the ideals of a true public servant. His firm, fair, and professional manner make him a credit to the Lebanon Police Department and the City of Lebanon. It is my honor to recommend him for the Officer of the Year Award. Respectfully submitted, Captain Jeff Warwick. So with that recommendation, the admin agreed that he should be Officer of the Year. And normally we do this at our Christmas party, but with the pandemic we were unable to have the Christmas party, so we thought we would really humiliate him and do it in front of everybody on TV. So with that being said, Austin Mccloskey, there you go, Officer of the Year 2020.
Thank you, everybody. Especially thank you to LPD for giving me this. First, I'd like to thank God, because without him, I wouldn't be in this position, wouldn't be a law enforcement officer without him placing me in this position. Then I would like to thank all of my shift mates, the guys I work with every single day. They're always there to back me up, help me out with whatever it is I need help with, and always answer questions that I have. So this award isn't just an individual award to me, it's an award for the whole night shift. So, thank you.
Thank you guys for allowing me the time to do that.
Yep. Thank you, Chief. We'll recess for about 2 minutes here. If you guys don't want to stay for the city council meeting, we won't be offended, so we can let you guys all leave.
Everybody go?
Yeah, I know, right? All right, with that, I'll end the recess and we'll re-adjourn the city council meeting. All right, first item up, old business. I don't have anything on my agenda. Is there anything from the council?
No, sir.
With that, then we'll move on to new business. First item up is reaffirming the city council's historic preservation appointments. Derek, I think there's a little bit of confusion, so if you want to kind of explain what's going on and what we're doing tonight with this.
Yeah, we're, something that just kind of slipped away from us is making sure that we have everyone reappointed and reaffirmed to the HPC. The commission is made up of 5 members. The council gets 2 appointments and the mayor gets 3. So we've had some people leave and some people join us, and we just figured now is the time to make sure that we're all in line with appointments and expiration dates. So the 2 council appointments, one is George Piper. He's been a long-time council appointee. And the other is Scott Sewell, who took over for Dan Fleming when he moved out of the community. So George Piper, I'm proposing that his term go to December 31st of 2023. And Scott Sewell, his term will expire on December 31st, 2022.
And just to confirm, so these are people already on the board, we just want to make sure we've, because I think there was maybe some confusion in our records on who appointed who, so we just wanted to make sure we set it in stone, set it clearly, make sure we know where everybody is, and that's kind of what the purpose of this is.
Are
So-
these 3-year, 2-year?
I believe they're 3-year appointments, is that correct?
We're staggering them to make sure so everybody doesn't expire all at the same time.
Sure.
So this is a 1 3-year and 1 2-year.
Yes, right, yeah.
Okay.
I think generally they are staggered throughout the year, but they're all 3-year terms.
They are all 3-year terms, yes.
But, yeah, so, but Scott so he's in his second year term, right? But we're just reaffirming that he is through the year.
When does the appointment start? When you say the term ends, but is it like first of the year, or how does that work?
So generally speaking, I believe they usually expire December 31st.
Yes,
Yeah.
January 1st, yes.
Yep. And this one was with Scott was a little different because there was a city councilman that left, and so I think we had to ask for applications, and then you guys kind of made the appointment based on this, so.
Yep. And we just had, for whatever reason, a couple turnovers here recently of mayor appointments. So we were going down the list, and I think we had some of them a little bit confused. And again, this is just cleaning all of that up and making sure that everyone is appointed by the right body.
Any questions for Derek on that? Any concerns?
No, sir.
Okay. And then I would entertain a motion to reaffirm the city council appointments of Scott Sewell and George Piper to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Move to make those appointments?
Okay. We have a motion to approve. Is there a second? I think Mike was the second. Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, those are confirmed. Thank you, Council, for the cleanup on that.
Thank you very much.
All right, next up, cancellation of warrants and outstanding checks. This is Tanya's.
This won't take long. So each year, I come before you to cancel out any outstanding checks or warrants that are 2 years old or over, and we don't have any this year, so thank you. They're all cash.
Guess I needed that money. Okay. All right, so then we're good on that. And then, so next item then is right-of-way services amendment appropriation request concerning Fordyce Road, and this is Kevin.
Thank you, Mayor, Clerk, and the other members of the City Council. Here for you tonight to talk about the Fordyce Road project. As you know, this project really initiated as a drainage project, a lot of drainage complaints in that corridor, and we are under contract with GAI Consultants for the design of that project. And that original design contract included road reconstruction, drainage, pathways, and sidewalks from Fordyce Road between Grant Street and John Bart Road. And after we went to contract with that, and in some discussions with the mayor, we felt it was the right decision to actually look a little bit further outside the scope of that project. Because we were making this a full road reconstruction and putting in path infrastructure as well, we felt the need to make that path go somewhere. We felt the need to make that path connect along the north side of Fordyce Road all the way over to the path along East Street, thereby connecting the Memorial Park Trail, connected to the Memorial Park Trail, which connects Memorial Park to downtown, which connects to the Big Four, which, very shortly in the near future will extend all the way across Boone County. So we felt this was an important piece of pedestrian infrastructure to go ahead and make this trail connection and extend that west from the current project limits of Grant and Fordyce west all the way to East Street. The project will not be a full street reconstruction west of Grant Street. It will just be for the installation of a path. And so we needed to revisit our consultant contract and it's particularly regarding some additional survey that will need to be done and right-of-way acquisition services. So the amendment before you tonight totals $99,640, and that includes $7,000 of additional topographic surveys and $92,640. That is a number not to exceed for right-of-way acquisition services. You might ask, what is right-of-way acquisition services? Well, it includes a lot. There's a lot that goes into buying right-of-way and buying it per state and federal guidelines. Title and encumbrance reports, title research, right-of-way engineering, right-of-way management, right of entry obtainment, staking, appraisals, including waiver valuations, value findings, buying, of course, and the negotiating associated with buying, and finally recording fees. So what's before you tonight is to execute the vision of connecting that pedestrian trail along the Fordyce project to the East Street Trail for $99,640, not to exceed, for acquisition services. This was approved earlier tonight from a contractual standpoint by the Board of Works as the contracting authority for the city. So what we're asking you to consider is how we might pay for these services. The current design contract is funded through stormwater funds. So obviously one point of consideration would be a continuation of stormwater funding this continued design efforts. But I want to make sure we're having a realistic and holistic discussion on this, because although I think the stormwater fund could easily accommodate another $100,000, at some point, this project is becoming beyond what stormwater can fund in and of itself. The project is estimated at costing about $4 million. We're currently under contract for about $400,000 in design services. We're adding $100,000 to that. What that $4 million and those $500,000 in design services doesn't cover is the right-of-way buying. That is hard to fully quantify at this point, but some quick estimates would be somewhere in the ballpark of $350,000 to buy the right-of-way. So again, I want to bring this before you tonight. Again, we have enough contractual services in place to get started on this work, but we need to think about how we're going to begin appropriating fees and funding the construction as well as the right-of-way buying and moving this forward. So that's what we're here for tonight. I get that this is a big question to just put on you in one meeting, so I fully understand if we need to revisit this issue, but I wanted to at least introduce the topic, get any comments, questions, or concerns out of the way so that we can move this forward.
Kevin, I got one question. This basically is not related to storm. This is related to trail, correct?
It's true, yes.
Right?
Yeah, there'd be no...
I mean, I know the whole project is being designed by storm. This additional right-of-way acquisition here is actually from Grant Street to East Street, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
But the trail on the north side.
But the trail on the north side, there is some storm work that would be required because there are some inlets there, but primarily this would be reconstructing, adjusting castings to grade, things of that nature, not really storm sewer construction.
That'll be an existing right-of-way we've already got.
Yes.
Basically.
Well,
This will be looking at acquiring additional right-of-way to make the trail happen.
Yeah, it's a little bit of right-of-way. For the most part, the existing edge of right-of-way, there are a couple parcels that don't have right-of-way, but the majority of parcels, the right-of-way it's going to fall just inside the edge, the northern edge of the trail. So there's a little bit of additional acquisition required on some parcels, and then almost every parcel is going to require some temporary right-of-way for construction purposes.
Okay, I guess where I'm kind of, my first response, and maybe others here, first response is probably, well, let's go ahead and take it out of storm. My second response is, but yes, this is more trail stuff. Maybe we ought to look at something else to go to assist this project
That's
in a different way.
my thoughts as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and because there isn't a sidewalk currently on the north side anyway,
No,
so it's not like we
no
already
sidewalk
have,
on
it's
the
not
north
like
side.
when we did it on East Street where we kind of shrunk the tree lawn So we can't really use that trick here, because we don't
And this,
have the...
and the idea is to put this trail on the north side so that we can tie it all the way down to East Street, tie it into the trail,
Correct, yeah.
okay?
Yeah, so
that's all it
Fordyce
is.
and East Street will be kind of a nice, will be a junction point
Exactly.
of the whole eastern side of the city, or it would serve mooring side, and anything that happens out on that side of the city, that becomes kind of another
If
kind
you
of
look at it,
core.
when we do Grant Street, we're gonna have a trail down Grant Street all the way down to the avenue,
Grant
correct?
Street is just sidewalks on both sides, not a trail.
No
At least
trail?
not at this point, not to say we couldn't redesign that. But, you know.
Well, let's
what
just make them squeeze in a little bit.
Where we're
Instead of
looking
10
at, you know, it's worth mentioning, because, you know, we've looked at where do we put trails? And really, a lot of those tends to want to focus on where are the street corridors that leave the city? So
Okay.
as we grow, you know, as we grow east, south, in all directions, how are we going to get people from those new neighborhoods into the city? Well, we think Fordyce is going to be a key conduit. Other streets like Elizaville Road, Elm Swamp, like Washington Street, Perryworth Road, like 250 North, Witt Road, those are going to be corridors we think are also going to be key growth corridors, and where we want to make sure we're getting not just vehicular traffic, but pedestrian traffic into the city and giving people those options. So Grant Street sort of falls on a lower, you know, sort of hierarchy in terms of pedestrian connectivity. It needs to be pedestrian accessible and connected. But in terms of building trail infrastructure, Grant Street falls a little below that line.
We'll still have connectivity all the way out to
Absolutely.
the avenue, all the way out to Hendricks Drive, out to there, tie into the
Absolutely.
trail. I just wanted to put that thought
Yeah.
out there for discussion.
Yep. Well, and, I mean, Kevin, did you have any thoughts on sources? I mean,
Well, one, you know, there's been a lot of discussions, you know, everything from looking at food and beverage and rainy day, some other ideas. I think food and beverage and rainy day aren't real appropriate, in my opinion. One, this isn't raining. You know, this is not a project that has to happen to secure some sort of stability in the city. Food and beverage, I don't see the Fordyce Road Trail providing any benefit to your food and beverage fund. So I think, you know, we got to look at other sources, and really the first one that comes to my mind is just excess general fund dollars.
Well,
Obviously, that's
a
special
possibility,
appropriation.
but
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Well, food and beverage is for taking those funds and improving the community.
That's
Well, I mean,
true.
I think food and beverage is a good source.
The other thing I just would caution you, and this probably would require some more research, is, you know, we've burdened the food and beverage fund on a few different projects over the last couple of years. Now, I want to make sure we're not putting too much into that, and at some point going to have trouble with the
well, I think.
we've got about $3 million.
I think we know about that. I
$2
think
million
that we know
capital.
that we're going to get to a point in time where we're going to have to ask for the additional in food and beverage to cover our extra things that we asked for.
Yeah, with the parks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That we could get to that position.
It's a good point.
But I'm
And I-
like Mike, that we used to, and we could do it again, but we're using food and beverage for, I would pretty much say activities. For trails, parks, everything. This is part of it, and if we could show, and I hope we can create that sign somewhere, because John, if you remember what we used to have, we had a sign only, this project funded by your food and beverage fund, you know.
Sure.
If we could do those and show the public, this is what we're using our food and beverage money for, especially the lighting in the park and the playground and things like that we've approved money there, I think honestly, to me, makes more sense than dipping into rainy day or the general fund or something. Let's use it. We've got it. There's plenty there, and I know we got plenty of money for projects too, so.
Again, and I think, you know, Kevin and I are ambivalent on this, right? I mean, it's really, where do you guys feel is the most appropriate, right? We don't want to come in and suggest, you know, and say it's got to be this. That's kind of, again, that's why tonight's just starting the conversation on it. Again, we'd have to do, you know, I think we probably require an additional appropriation if we had to do general fund anyway, right? So we're obviously we're not saying we need to make an appropriation tonight, but just want to have, make sure we have your guidance on where you feel makes the most sense.
And I wasn't trying to say it would be improper in any way to use food and beverage. You're right, they could be used. There's no restrictions on how you want to use food and beverage funds to improve your community. I guess just when I'm making those, those recommendations to you, is this a project that's going to then benefit the food and beverage fund and put more money back into it? That's just kind of the qualifier I make, but is it the required, necessary legal qualifier? No. Absolutely, food and beverage can be used anywhere.
That's been a criteria that we've talked about, but I kind of agree with Mike and Dick that we use that in various ways to enhance the community, whether it replenishes the fund or not. And this seems like it would be a pretty good use. And we had discussed that we want to bring those balances back down a little bit, so we're not holding on to the taxpayers' money and just leaving it set in accounts. So this is one of those infrastructure things that everybody can use, and it's really a major enhancement. So I'm with the other two councilmen that spoke up.
Okay.
I have a question though, Kevin. When you take that trail down Fordyce Street, what are you going to do at the bridge? And when you cross there in front of the Armory's garage?
Absolutely. So on the bridge, what we've already looked at is the road surface between the sidewalks on either side of the bridge is wide enough that it could be narrowed. It's basically wide enough so that there's a lane of parking and 2 drive aisles, and actually they're pretty large drive aisles. They're beyond 12 feet. So what we would propose is basically to epoxy bond additional concrete and curb to the bridge deck. So we would essentially be widening out the sidewalk on the north side of the bridge that I believe is 6 feet wide. We would be widening that by 4 feet. We would lose the parking spaces on the bridge, but really you shouldn't be parking on the bridge anyway, but we don't sign that bridge for no parking. So that's how we would get around the bridge. So you will take a little bit of a jog as you go around the bridge. And then there is sidewalk from the bridge to the corner of East Street. There's a 6-foot sidewalk adjacent to the curb. That was replaced a few years ago when they reconstructed that bridge. So that sidewalk will be widened from 6 foot to 10 feet. So again, the corridor would fit through there. We need to adjust and probably re-pour the end of the driveway into the Armory. But that sidewalk would just be widened to accommodate the path. It would jog around the bridge and it would continue east. There'd be approximately a 3-foot tree lawn between the edge of pavement and then a 10-foot asphalt path that would be on the north side of the road.
One other comment?
Yeah.
And you may already have, but don't forget to talk to the county about the bridge extension of the sidewalk.
Already have, yeah. That was the first call we made to see if they would allow us to modify that. And basically, as long as we're just gluing some sidewalk for, to put it in layman's terms, to the existing concrete deck, they have no issue. They don't want us to in any way harm the superstructure.
The Army too we probably ought to look at putting concrete back there instead of asphalt.
We will, yeah, from the bridge to East Street, it would all be
so they got concrete all the way around.
Yeah, it would just be an asphalt trail, I guess, is that, it's not Park Street, is
Park
it?
Street.
It is
From
Park
Park
Street, yeah.
Street
So
to
everything east of Park Street would be asphalt out to John Bart, yeah.
Have we had any outreach to the affected property owners?
No, we have not contacted them yet. We had public meetings at the beginning of this project held at Centenary and invited a lot of the adjacent property owners. So some of them may, but at that time, the scope didn't go all the way west. So it is something we need to reach back out to them and have another public information session before shortly they'll be contacted by the right-of-way buyers as well.
And part of why we chose the north side is the houses are further back on the north side versus on the south side. So that's part of our kind of thought. They'd still have plenty of room to park in their driveway and not impact the trail. So that was part of our thought process there too, so.
Kevin, what's a timeline on this? What are we looking at?
It's up in the air right now. I mean, in terms of our design timeline, it's putting us in a situation where in the late summer of of 2022, we would be able to bid the project. That could fluctuate depending on how easy or difficult some of the owners are when it comes to right-of-way acquisition. That can always be dragged out, especially if it gets into a situation where we're looking at condemnation actions. But right now, it looks like we would be summer of next year, be ready to bid the project, starting to construct in the fall, and then into 2023.
So, is that for all of Fordyce, or that's
would be
for just
all
this
of
section?
Fordyce,
That's for all
yeah.
of it? Okay. Because, I mean, we would bid this construction of the trail as part of that project, I'd assume,
Yeah, well,
right?
I would see it being all bid as one overall project. It could be something, I always like when we bid projects, I like to build in alternates so that we can sort of right-size a project if it becomes too expensive. So the trail would probably be bid as an alternate. For some reason, the road project is not a little under 4 million, it comes in at 5. Then we would have to ask ourselves, can we really afford to spend the money on the additional trail, or do we deduct that and keep ourselves at the budget we had set for the project?
And then this 99,640, you're really needing that committed fairly soon, is that what you're saying?
We have some time. There was an existing 116,000 in the contract for right-of-way acquisition, and we're just getting started. So they can work for some time before they would reach that threshold. So to wait, say, till the next meeting to make a decision, that would not be a problem, even to wait a little longer. But it sounds like some on the council have kind of already made this in their mind, and that's fine if we want to go with that route. We have, again, like the mayor said, I think we're ambivalent as to how you want to fund it. We'll leave that up to you.
But it's not like they got to start tomorrow to hit their timelines, yeah.
That's the reason I try to fit a
Yep.
time around it.
Yep, and that's what.
We are not waiting on this decision to start. We have $100,000 we can run for months on right-of-way acquisition services before we need this.
Any other thoughts from council? I mean, again, we can kind
I have
of,
another question. I didn't hear you say the National Guard has agreed to that.
I'm sorry, the what?
Has the Guard agreed to that?
We've not approached them. I will say the National Guard has been very accommodating in the past. When we needed easements for the East Street project, they gave those to us. There was no purchase involved, where they could have required a compensation for those easements. So they've been very forthcoming. It's also, I don't know if the mayor, if you have any updates, but at one time I had heard that eventually the National Guard is planning to vacate that facility, consolidating National Guard posts throughout the state. And at some point, their goal would be their idea would be to donate that building, that facility to the city.
last I heard on that, it's been probably a year and a half, maybe 2 at this point. There was a new regulation coming down from the federal Army, because National Guard still operates under those regulations, that they had to secure their motor pool. And I guess the challenge with our armory is because it's in a floodway or flood zone even, floodway, DNR would not permit them to install a fence to secure their motor pool. Now, that has clearly not gone into effect yet, because obviously they're still operating there. So that's kind of where they kind of hit the rub, is they'd have to vacate the armory because they wouldn't be able to meet the federal Army standards of securing the motor pool. But again, that just highlights if that's potentially in the cards in the future, having a trail connected to what essentially would become a community center makes it even more valuable too. So.
Yeah.
So again, no need for action tonight. If we feel like we've talked about it, we can kind of circle back and, have more discussion at our next meeting with maybe some firmer proposals. And Brandon, you and I can talk and see what the council is and have that ready for next meeting.
I guess my thought though is unless I'm missing something, why put it off if there's no reason to delay? And if somebody's got a reason they want to think about it some more, I'm totally good with that. But I think if we put it off and we're already in agreement, then when we bring it back up, we're going to have to go through this again and kind of refresh our memories.
They won't be drawing from this for months.
Correct, yeah.
Before they draw anything.
Yep.
And it's just a matter of just let's just make the decision and be done with it. They won't be
That's
drawing for it.
kind of my
That
thought.
way Connie can get it down on the record that we've approved this and she knows how to, she knows where we're at on the account. So I would go ahead and make the motion that we approve $99,640 for this Amendment 1 agreement with GAI for the land acquisition for the Fordyce Street project.
And I'll second.
From which fund?
Excuse me?
You gotta say which fund?
Food and beverage fund.
From Food and Beverage Fund. Okay, we have a motion
And I will second.
and a second for discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay. Very good, thank you, council, appreciate that.
Thank you all.
That's all I have for new business on my agenda. Is there anything from council?
No, sir.
Okay. Any announcements or discussion from anybody? Okay, move on then to the claims and entertain a motion concerning the claims.
Come on, man.
Move to approve the claims.
We have a motion to approve the claims. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Thank you. We should pay our bills. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, claims are approved.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? No one wants to leave?
Sierra? She's not going to second?
Second.
Motion, there we go. Second from Sierra, motion and second. All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Our next city council meeting will be Monday, March 22nd at 7:15 PM. Thanks for watching.